In February, I led a pilgrimage to Israel to go and see the Holy Land. We visited many churches and sites of interest of our faith. One of the places we celebrated Mass was in a small church on the hillside. This hillside was facing the city of Jerusalem. That little church on the hillside, it overlooked Jerusalem. And, if you've seen a postcard or often the photos of Jerusalem with the Golden Dome Church, and you see the older city of Jerusalem and where the temple was, that church was called Dominus Flevit, which translated in English means the place where Jesus wept. The place where Jesus wept. This event that we just heard in the Gospel, that was the church that we celebrated Mass at. This was the place where Jesus looked out into the city of Jerusalem to look at the temple of Jerusalem, the holiest of sights, and he began to weep, to shed tears, because the people at this time did not recognize him, both as the Son of God and as the long-awaited Messiah. Jesus' tears, God's tears, come from the great sadness that he felt when so many people ignored him and ignored his message. It's difficult probably for us to try to imagine the deep sadness of God, of everything that God has done for his people up to this time. Think of all the prophets that foretold Jesus is coming, the Messiah is coming, that the people would have studied and read from in their worship services, that yet even after all this, even after the signs that Jesus demonstrated, the miracles that were given, that they saw right before their eyes, they still could not see that the Son of God stood before them, that their long-awaited Savior was right there. They ignored him, they ridiculed him. It's even hard for us to imagine the tremendous humility for God, the all-powerful God, to humble himself, to come down into our world, to become this small, little, vulnerable child lying in a manger, so that he may walk among us, so that he may speak to us in our language that we understand, so that he may share with us his message, that he wants a relationship with us, that he loves us so much, and he has come down to tell us, and eventually to give his life for us. And how was he received? What did we do? As humanity, we spit in his face. We tortured him for a crime that he did not commit until his body was beyond recognition. And then we nailed him to a tree to die an agonizing death. My friends, the gospel reading from today, and all the readings at this time of the year in the month of November, it's the end of our liturgical year. We're approaching the end of our season as we enter into the end of our year, our calendar year as well. And the readings remind us of what it is, what it will be like at the end of our lives, at the end of time. We've heard these readings, and we are called to prepare ourselves for the birth of the Savior, to prepare ourselves for the new year that is to come. But as we prepare for the busiest shopping month of the year, probably the busiest shopping days of the year, it's easy for us to ignore who it is that we are truly preparing for this Christmas. I encourage you to take some time in the weeks ahead to step back and to look at the past year in your life, even your whole life if you'd like to, and to look back at the things in your life in this past year that maybe have caused you to shed tears, that have caused others to shed tears, maybe the things that you have said or that you have done, or maybe the things that you have not said or not done. that has caused others to shed tears, and maybe for yourself to shed tears, to have some sort of regret at the end of this year. This season, this time, as we wrap up our liturgical year, and listening to Jesus' tears as he weeps in remorse and regret at how the people do not yet recognize him as the Christ, as the Savior of the world, you and I are called to reflect back and to hopefully make right whatever it is that we may have done that we regret from the past year. Any hurts that we may have done for another person, or the things that we may have said to hurt another person, where they have shed tears, let this be a time where we can seek reconciliation, that we can try to make it right, that we can pray for them, that we can seek that healing for themselves and for ourselves. Today's gospel, we hear about Jesus' tears as he weeps for the people of Jerusalem, whose temple will be destroyed in the years to come. His tears show that this lost opportunity for them who did not yet recognize who he was. At the end of our gospel today it says, that did not recognize and celebrate his presence among them. This Christmas, and in the coming weeks of Advent, let us not forget or fail to recognize who Jesus Christ is and what we are preparing for this Christmas, so that we may recognize and celebrate Jesus' presence among us when the Savior of the world, when the Son of God comes into the home of our hearts this Christmas. May God bless you.